Hey everyone, I'm Michael, and in this video, I wanted to give a bit of an intro to the prerequisites for the OSD.Workspace PowerShell module. If you're unfamiliar with what OSD Workspace, it is a PowerShell module that's used to build and customize Windows PE images for use with things like OSD Cloud. So I'll show you where you can find the prerequisites, and then I'll go a little over each of them as to why they're needed and what's included in them. And then I'll have individual videos on each of them that you can follow to get them configured or installed. So we'll start over on GitHub. You'll see here the PowerShell module is called OSD.Workspace. And if you navigate over to the wiki, you'll find the current prerequisites for the module. So I'll start with the first one here, the OS client. We're currently only supporting Windows 11 24H2. I know it's everyone's favorite version of Windows 11. There hasn't been any issues with it so far. But we had to pick somewhere to start, and we really didn't want to go back and have to test this on multiple versions of Windows. So we're just starting from 24H2, and then we'll move forward as 25H2 comes out, and so on. The next thing on the prerequisite list is Windows PowerShell 5.1. Now, this isn't necessarily a prerequisite, but in the wiki here, we're going to go over how to make sure that you have your execution policy set correctly, making sure that your NuGet package is installed, as well as getting PowerShell Git, as well as package management updated to the latest. The assumption here and why we have this in the wiki is just in case you've installed Windows from the ISO, and all these will be out of date by default out of the box. We just want to provide the commands necessary to get those updated. Moving on from there, OSD.Workspace was architected to work with PowerShell 7, so we have some commands in here to get that installed. It's pretty straightforward prerequisite, just making sure that that's installed and utilized when running OSD Workspace. From there, you'll install Git for Windows. This is going to be used to track your changes as you work within your workspace. You can create commits every time you make changes or add something. It's just going to be a nice way to be able to track those. And then also you can push those up to GitHub. That way you can store and back up everything that you're doing within your OSD workspace. Now, in conjunction with Git for Windows, you'll utilize that alongside Visual Studio Code as well. It's the primary way to interact with your workspace. You can use both the user or the system install context of Visual Studio Code, as well as the insiders branch as well, if you want to stay on the edge feature-wise for VS Code. After that, you will need the Windows ADK installed. This is to ensure that you have the optional packages to add to your WinPE. And also, you'll have an option to build your Windows PE image using the supplied image within the Windows ADK. But OSD Workspace primarily will be using the WinRE image from an imported OS that you put into the workspace. Now, the next one is Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. If you're going to be adding Dart to your Windows PE image, you're going to need that Dart config file out of MDT. Optionally, too, there may be some commands in the future to be able to import your drivers from the workspace over into MDT, and you'll need the PowerShell module that's inside MDT to do that. The next thing is if you're going to be testing VMs using the PE images that you build with OSD Workspace, you'll need Microsoft Hyper-V installed on the machine. There's going to be some tasks that you can utilize to just quickly create and then boot some virtual machines. And then the final prerequisites are going to be PowerShell modules that the OSD Workspace is dependent on. The first one you're going to want to install is the workspace itself, but after that, it heavily relies on some commands that are built into the original OSD module, and then as well as the OSD Cloud module, which is going to be version 2 of OSD Cloud. So that way you can add that to a boot image once you get those created. So now that we've covered the prerequisites, you can go ahead and follow along on the individual videos for each of the prerequisites on how to either configure or get those components installed on your machine. But that's all I have for you in this one. I'll catch you in the next video.